All right, so welcome to Virtual Coffee Break, everybody. So you guys just joined, but you got to catch the tail end of me doing a three-way call. I was just onboarding Claudia. Welcome, Claudia. She's our new business partner of Lana Berry. And so we were doing her onboarding, and it was running over, and I got a three-way call. So I was like, this will be a great opportunity for her to hear how a three-way call is done. Lana, you got to catch the whole thing. Are you able to speak? I want you to share your takeaways on how that three-way call went.
Again, I think that the call went very well. You engaged with her and got to know who she was, her why. And then you also let her know how you got started and why you started. So it can be kind of relatable to what why you did it and what it's all about and what the need for her.
Mm-hmm.
um, and you just explained to her on the business, how she can make that money, and found out what her goals were and how she can reach those goals.
Mm-hmm. Very good, very good. Now, Lana, earlier you were saying we were talking of going over peaking. We were going over the PS3 and how to peak interest with Claudia. And I
Mm-hmm.
was going over the three peaks, and you said, "Oh my gosh, I've kind of been doing this wrong."
Right.
You talk about that because I think that this conversation is going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, I absolutely have been doing this, piquing people's interest wrong. I had been excited about getting people involved and reaching out to people and saying, hey, I got this new business. Here, I want you guys to get some information about it. I've been sending them the video and, and I wasn't really trying to make it all about me, but I was kind of making it all about me instead of making it about the people that I'm piquing. So I had to, the light bulb just went off. I need to make sure that I'm finding out what the other person's need is and piquing them to their needs and not just telling them I have this new business because, like you said, nobody cares that you have a new business.
Right, right. That's
So,
good. That's good.
so that was a big takeaway for me. And just trying to, again, engaging, finding out what that need is. And, because we are in the business is all about helping people. We want to help people get out of their whatever situation is. And we want to know what people's goals are so we can help them reach those goals.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you saw even on the three-way call, the first thing that I asked the young lady was, tell me a little bit about yourself and, why did you say yes to taking a look at this business opportunity?
Right.
Right? Because I didn't want her to say, "Oh, I took a look at it because my cousin said she started it, and I wanted, she wanted me to see what she was doing." Like nobody's gonna do that. And think about it, this young lady is looking at retirement, right? And right now she has no income coming in. So why would she care to look at what somebody's business is unless it's
Right.
going to benefit her in some way?
Yep.
That's good. All right. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? What are your takeaways from what you caught of that three-way call? That was a good textbook three-way call. Michelle, you came on good time. Michelle was like, I was trying to let somebody else say something. Y'all gotta be quick.
You saw it just came off of mute. I'm like, I did my five. I'm sorry. um, you know, when I came in, one thing I was loving was that you were making it very clear that it's a focus on what is it that you want, what you can do to make it successful for yourself. Like I said, prime example was you were giving her specifics about, learn Carnival, then start booking Carnival. Learn all about Royal Caribbean. So it's putting it, instead of just speaking in general terms, is making it much more specific so people can start thinking about how they can be successful at the business. And I think that you're using or referencing suppliers that everyone's identifying with. So for me, I think that was one thing that really spoke volumes because too often we're referencing suppliers. Okay, they don't even know what that means. They're not in the industry. So it's
Right.
like, okay, who is that? Now really reference what that means. But then it's also reflecting on, how you can make that income. I would love to have heard the beginning of it because I'm all about building and that whole focus about tying those pieces in together. When I came in, it was on the travel side, and I thought that was just great.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's always about, and that's why it's so important in the beginning of the call to find out what their need is. And then now you're going to tailor the conversation based on, like, my format never changes, but what I'm saying, I'm tailoring it to them, right? She didn't sound like she had any young kids. She didn't mention young kids. So I'm not going to go all deep into talking about children, right? Her main situation right now is I have no income. I don't know if her situation was they forced her to retire or something. I'm not quite sure, but she's not even able to apply for her retirement until next week or next month or whatever she said. Right. So and she said she needs $2,000 a month to come in. And when we started in the beginning, she also said that she was looking, the reason why she wanted to take a look at this opportunity is because she's coming up on her retirement and she wanted to start a business. She needs income. And I said, how much income do you need to be able to live the lifestyle you want to live post retirement? And she said $2,000 a month. I'm like, that's a 1-star director. All right, gotcha.
Now, one thing I really loved at the end was when you were talking with her about now keeping it real about, okay, set the dates. Because I think that in a sense she was speaking in general terms, but you were already getting her conditioned to put a plan together and figure this out. And that was something that, she was responding honestly where she was with everything. But I also got the sense that she was responding to that conditioning of you got to have a plan, you got to have dates along with the plan.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wanted to make sure because I wasn't 100% sure on, okay, is she sold on the business or is it that she doesn't have the money? Like, which one was it? Because in the beginning, I didn't know that she didn't have any income coming in. She didn't say that from the beginning. So that's why I said, what date are you going to be ready to get started? Are you ready to start today? She's like, no, I can't start today. So it's like, okay, is it that you can't start today because you don't have the money? Or is it that you can't start, right? Because she said, I need to meditate on it. Y'all ever get somebody say that? They don't want to start right away because they got to meditate on it. They got to think about it. So when she said that, I'm like, what's that code for? Is that code for I'm not convinced that this is the right opportunity for me, or is that code for I don't have the $200 to get started? That's why I said, okay, then what date will you be ready? I'm already anticipating the sale. And then that's when she finally said, I don't have any income coming in. And then now the truth came out. So it's really, really important to find out what's holding them up. If you had $200 right now to start the business, would you get started? Is there anything that would stop you from getting started? See, if I was to ask that question to her, she probably would have said no. I would get started right away. So now I know it's money. Well, guess what? I could talk until I'm blue in the face. That's not going to put $200 in her bank account. So at that point, it's just, okay, what date will you be ready, or what date can we follow up with you? But we're going to get some type of date because I didn't want Stephanie having to chase her down, like just having her in limbo, like I don't know where we going with her. No, it's bam fam, book a meeting from a meeting. Book a meeting from a meeting. So I was not gonna let her get off with, well, when I get things together, then no, we need a date. We need a date. And so because she's going through the process of having to apply for her retirement, it's okay for Stephanie to say, okay, let me follow up with her, the beginning of May and kind of see where she's at. Anybody else? Any feedback from that 3-way call that you heard?
All right. I jumped on real late a little bit, but I did hear you invited her right away to something else. That's what I heard. So you didn't say I'm gonna text you. You just told her, okay, here's what I'm gonna do next, which was really good.
Yes, yes. So because listen, it's only February 28th. We only doing a follow-up in May. That's a lot of time that's going to pass by. And every day that, someone doesn't join the business, their excitement wavers about the business. So we got a lot of keeping engaged to go between now and when this young lady finally, gets the money to be able to join the business. So remember, the last Tuesday of every month, Mr. Moore does a business overview on our team Zoom. So tonight is the perfect night to invite her onto the team Zoom so she can become even more excited, about starting this business. Who knows? Maybe she'll even do what I did and borrow the money from somebody. Or who knows? Maybe she'll see the value of I don't know, maybe putting it on a credit card and like, you know what, let me start this business and make some money right now. While the going is getting good. Again, price is only an issue in the absence of value. $200 is only going to be a problem if you don't see the value in it. Like when I saw this business, I immediately saw the value to the point that I was willing to borrow the money instead of waiting until my payday. That's how much of the value that I saw in this business. So again, you got to kind of leave it up to the person, but I'm going to invite her to this. And then guess what? I'm going to have Stephanie plug her into the IMV in the mornings as another layer to keep her engaged, right? Probably closer to May, depending on what happens in May. I may have Stephanie start having her work on her list, anticipating the money. It all depends on what's happening with her retirement. But here's the other thing. It didn't sound like her retirement was guaranteed. She said she was going to have to apply. So what happens if the retirement doesn't happen? Right? So then that's going to be another conversation. You could be working this business, making some money. So again, getting her on the team Zoom tonight may just create that sense of urgency where she's like, I should start this now. I don't want to have to tell her that. I mean, if I feel like I need to, I will, but maybe she'll come to the conclusion on her own, whether I get this retirement or not, I need to do something. And I definitely don't want to go back to work. So let me find a way to get this money to start this business. Shamika?
I was just gonna say that I like how your stories basically answer some of the basic questions that our prospects have.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like already included because she was like, you could tell that was gonna be the question she was asked, how much to get started, and you already said it, and she just kind of reiterated, okay, so it's $200. Like, yes. So I like how you have those basic common questions that people ask is already included in the story. So most times they be like, well, you answered all the questions that I got. So
yes, that's very important. I learned that at a training that Tiffany McIntosh did one year at convention. And she learned that from Holton Bugs, right? That you should, in your story, you tweak your story and anticipate what questions your prospect is going to have, and just include that as part of your story. And this way they're like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. And people always have the same questions. How much does it cost? As if they didn't watch the video all the way to the end, right? So you got to reiterate how much it costs. And usually they have a question about training. So I always let them know what that process is going to be. And that goes to your question, Lenice, or your statement. Lenice said, price can also be an issue when a person doesn't trust themselves enough that they believe they will be successful. That's why, as part of my conversation, I go through what's going to happen when you get started. It's a 10-minute sign up process. Once you're in the system, now we're going to schedule your orientation. You're going to be assigned a success coach. You're going to have 5 to 6 hours of one-on-one training with them, right? Anybody who's following me, they're using a 15-day quick start. So I'm explaining to them right up front, you know, we're going to have 4 different sessions. The first 2 sessions are going to be all about the marketing side of the business. We're going to teach you how to tap into your friends, your family, your neighbors, your coworkers, your social media, and find like-minded people like yourself. And then the last 2 sessions are going to be all about the IntelliTravel side of the business. We're going to walk you through your IntelliTravel back office, show you the tools and resources, right? Letting them know up front, you don't have to figure this out. We're going to teach you. You just got to learn the system. Because some people have had experiences where they started a business and nobody helped them. And they weren't able to figure it out and they weren't successful, so they quit. And so here we want to, you know, reiterate to people and let them know, oh, no. Over here, you're going to have a success coach. You're going to have somebody that's going to work one-on-one with you to make sure that you understand how to work both sides of your business. So that's very, very important. Anybody else? Any comments? Go ahead, Sandra. Come off mute.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Sandra is our newest business partner. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, thank you. So 2 things. One, I had my first presentation and someone on my presentation didn't join, but she's extremely excited. She wants to join. She doesn't have a job. She does have a part-time job.
Okay.
So she's like, I don't know where I'm going to get the money, but I want to borrow the money. She's super excited about joining, and she really wants to join as my number 2 spot.
Ooh.
So I think she's going to join this weekend.
Okay.
Well, we hope anyway, because people say that and then nothing ever happens. But the second thing she asked was, will I have training if I join? And I was like, there's tons of training. Not only will you have a coach, but all the training I'm getting, I can't keep up with all the videos, the messages from Andy. I mean, it's just so much information, all the reading of the books, going over your notes, Tanisha. I'm just like overwhelmed in information. I'm going to crash in a minute.
No, don't crash and burn. Pace yourself and schedule.
I'm pacing myself.
But you were able to share your experience with the she's going to get tons of training. She don't have to worry about that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And she's another person who she can't find a job. I mean, she's in her 60s. She's well educated. She's been executive assistant. She's been an office manager. She's been this and that, and she can't seem to find a job. So I was like, well, why don't you just go into business for yourself?
Right. You ain't got to worry about
looking for a job. Right. Don't depend on other people. Depend on yourself.
And did
And
that resonate with her?
I think it did, yes. So she's, I think she's a little hesitant because her money is low, but you have to invest in yourself. Like you, I saw the value immediately.
You sure did.
Right?
Like, I'm ready. What I got to do to get started.
Right. Yes.
And you know what? Something else that when you come across people like that, you can talk about, and I don't remember, somebody could probably Google this. How many people started a business during the pandemic out of necessity? It's a lot of people that started the business during the pandemic out of necessity because they're sitting there waiting for Congress to pass a stimulus that might not happen. And they kept dragging it. And people are like, I got to do something. I got to find a way to make money. So, yes, the time to start a plan B is while you have a plan A that's working for you. But that's not always going to be the case. Sometimes it's out of your control and that plan A just disappears. And so you have to do something. You got to take a risk and be able to position yourself in a way where, you're not dependent on a job, that you have something else coming in. So hopefully she will see the value and find the money and we get her started. And you know, the key again is going to be to launch her immediately. So all of you should have seen that I updated the 15-day quick start. And so I want to share with you, and Shamika, I see your question. I'm going to answer that in a moment. I updated the 15-day quick start to say, number one, that their launch, that we want them to invite their top 20. I used to say the top 10 to 15, but now I'm saying the top 20. The second thing that I tweaked in the 15-day quick start is that you're going to schedule a launch once a week for 4 weeks. So let's say, okay, Sandra joins the business today, right? I'm going to launch her within the next 72 hours, which is putting us in the first week of March. But while I'm on the phone with her and we're scheduling that first launch, I'm saying, okay, Sandra, let's also schedule one for the second, third, fourth week in March. So we want 4 weeks of consecutive launches. And why do we want to do that? And this is something that kind of just hit me, because I remember hearing one of the leaders saying you can't launch somebody just one time. And it's like, I heard that before. Anybody else ever hear one of the leaders say that? Like, you can't just launch people one time. And it just kind of went over my head, because I was launching people that one time. And then I'm like, okay, now work your list, go through the list and peak interest. But then it made sense. Think about this. You have a new business partner. You schedule their first launch. They're just learning how to invite. So they're not that great at it, even though you're giving them some guidance. And guess what? There's going to be people that they invite who want to get on that can't get on. So wouldn't it be nice? Let's say Sandra invites 20 people to her first launch, but only 6 of them actually get on. Well, guess what? Now she can go back and invite the other 11 and say, hey, no problem. I have another one next week at this date and time. Does that work for you? Yeah, okay, I could be on that one. Boom. Right? And then the people, then she's going to continue to invite. She's not going to just invite those 11. I'm like, because you added more people to the list, right? So she's going to try to get 20 more on the next one, and then the next one, and then the last one. So with 4 launches, what are the chances we're going to fill those $3 million seats before that $60 is due? Very, very high. Very high. What are your thoughts on that, Shamika?
I was going to say, I think that's awesome, because I think I asked you this question before about launching. And I think about myself as a leader. I launch myself more than one time. So why wouldn't I launch my business partner? And they kind of get the concept of, of what it means to at least show your business to people one time a week, because some people get the impression that you can just put a trip on Facebook and people automatically know that you're a travel advisor. Like that's not how it works. So you have to get yourself out there to people so they can know what you do. So I think that's awesome. That's an awesome idea. And to keep them engaged and to kind of build their relationship. You can tell them, okay, only 2 people came this time, but that's still great, right? That's still good numbers. So let's go for 4, next week. So I think that's awesome. It keeps the excitement as well too. So I think that's awesome. I got that in my notes.
Right. And then here's the thing. After the 4 weeks, right? Now they already know, because part of the 15-day quick start, they're supposed to add the meetings and stuff, but now they can start inviting to the Planet Marketing Facebook group for, the Planet Marketing Facebook page for the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday presentation. Now they're able to invite people to Freedom Friday, because they know what their people are going to expect, what they're going to get. It just makes so much. I'm just mad at myself that I didn't figure the whole thing out before, but everybody's going through their own process and journey in this business, everybody's personally development. And like I said before, you may hear things that the leaders say, but at that time, you're just not there for it to be relevant to you at where you are in your journey. And so now for me, with, you know, the new people coming on, I don't know, it's just more relevant now because I keep having the same people. I'm at that, I'm not chasing them, I'm replacing them stage. Y'all know what I'm talking about? You have the same people who go on credit hold every month or whatever. You're like, I got to replace these people. And so with the new people, it's like, if the new people get this belief check in their first 30 days, they're going to stay. That's how you're going to build momentum in their business, right? The other thing, and thank you, Shamika, for looking that up. Y'all write this down. 4.4 million people started a business in 2020. That is an astonishing statistic. 4.4 million people started a business in 2020. So Sandra, when the young lady was talking about, you know, she's concerned about, you know, she's only bringing in part-time money from her part-time job, so she's a little nervous about making that investment. You can bring that statistic. 4.4 million people started a business in 2020. How many of them do you think lost their job and that's why they started the business?
I will sure bring that to her attention.
Right? That's going to make her think, you know what? You're right. You're right. And it gets people to be a little bit more creative when they find value in how they could make the money. I've always said, if you have a decent car, you could be driving Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, or whatever to make money. You don't have to go to somebody's retail store working part-time. You can be in business for yourself as a contractor, doing any of the delivery services to make money. Shamika said, how do you get past those people that talk about the $60 as a bill? Let me be honest with you about that question. I used to get a lot of people in the beginning. In my first few years, I used to get a lot of people bringing that up. And when people are struggling to pay their bills, it's really, really hard for them to see that $60 as anything other than another bill. But you know what happened? I got better at showing the value of this business and what it can do. And when I started using that income disclosure statement, showing them what it was going to take to make the kind of money they wanted to make, honestly, I can't even remember the last person that I spoke to who was concerned with that $60 a month bill. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Was it one of your people, Sandra? No, Sonia's person. Actually, there was one person recently, but this person is very, very different. This person is just indecisive. Just like something's wrong, indecisive, like overly overthinking, indecisive, that kind of way. So I can't even really count that one. But yeah, it's been years, Shamika, since someone has been concerned about the $60 a month, because I've shown so much value of how much money they can make in this business that they're not even thinking about the 60. They're now more focused on what? 8 streams of income? I only got to help 9 people and I could make average $411. They're thinking about that. And here's the other thing that helps with that. When you're talking to people, like, and I'm using the income disclosure statement and I'm showing, let's say I'm showing that, you know, the average gold builder works the business 15 hours a week and on average is making $411 a month. I'm saying to them, and this is important, what bill could you take off the table if you had an extra $411 a month coming in on top of what you're already bringing in? That right there will help eliminate that question. Because if they're looking at the $60 as a bill, and I'm talking about help 9 people, and that's going to give you $411, what bill can that take off? Guess what? That's somebody's car note. $411 a month residually, that's a car note. If you got a family plan cell phone bill, it's probably close to that. I know mine is like over 300, right? It's somebody's electric bill that this business could cover. So if you take what they're concerned about and flip it to a positive, yeah, that $60 though can take the electric bill off the table. That $60 is going to take your car note off the table. Now you're changing their perception. Now they're not looking at the $60 as a bill. They're looking at it as an investment. Does that make sense, Shamika?
Yes, that definitely makes sense. And I did want to ask you, do we have with the income disclosure statement, you know how you had it broken down into monthly instead of yearly? Is that out for the 2022? Because I was
put
looking
that
for
out
it.
in January. I'll text it to you right now.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you know what? Let me show everybody where it is. Actually, oh yeah, hold on. Let me see. I know I'm not sharing my screen yet, but my internet is just moving extremely slow. If you go to the Team Lux Platinum group and do a search, type in income disclosure in the Team Lux Platinum group. And it should, I'm going to test it out now. It should pop right up.
And what did you say put in the search bar? What did you say put in search?
Hold on, because I'm not seeing it.
Income disclosure, and I
see the
only see the old ones. Yeah.
Okay, let me post a new one in there. Thank you for bringing. I'm surprised I didn't. That's weird. Okay, hold on. I'm going to post it in there right now. You know what it was? I think I just shared it in the groups. Monthly 2022. And I'll tag everyone. I'll do it at everyone, so you all are notified. Okay. So you should have a notification for it now. Thank you for bringing that up. I thought that was there already. Lanice, you want to talk about that? Are you somewhere where you could talk about what you just typed in there? Encouraging them even if people don't show up. Are you still on? Lanice said, my thoughts were not having them feel overwhelmed or underwhelmed when no one shows up. But Shamika said something that made sense about encouraging them even if turnout is low. Yeah. So whenever I do a launch for someone, if nobody shows up, typically there's one person. Usually one person will show up. But if nobody shows up, then I use that time to go over with them how they're inviting. Right. And I let them tell me, okay, what did you say to invite this person? And usually there's a tweak that you could make in their invitation. And again, by the fourth launch, they've gotten a lot better at inviting as well. Any questions, comments, feedback? Shamika?
What I have done to get over that anxiety of inviting people, because I guess they feel like they have to have a 4-page letter. And so what I started implementing with in my onboarding is I let them hear me invite someone, and then I tell them to invite someone, just how I did. And so, we kind of do like a briefing afterwards, and it's like, okay, did you die? Are you alive over there? They be like, yeah, ooh, girl. Oh, thank you so much. And that kind of relieves the anxiety. So I at least tell them once, let's do this together right now so you can see how it's done. So you don't have to be talking so much, because I think that's the thing that people think, that they have to explain everything. So I started implementing that invite, and it's been good.
Yep, absolutely. That's a good way to do it. And when you're telling people that to invite their top 20, help them make the list of the top 20. And so I typically will ask the new business partner, if you had a president, vice president, CEO, who would you pick? Or I phrase it as, who do you know that could benefit from this business? And they'll say, oh, well, my cousin Samantha. Okay, tell me why you think Samantha could benefit from this business. Oh, well, Samantha works 2 jobs. Okay, write Samantha's name down and put 2 jobs next to her name. Who else? Oh, well, actually, my son Marcus could use this. Tell me why Marcus. Well, Marcus is a go-getter. He's always looking for ways to make money. All right, write Marcus down and put go-getter, money hungry, right? And then I give them the pre-launch script. And I tell them, again, you can personalize this, but I just want to give you an idea of how the invitation should be so that you don't talk too much, right? Hey, Samantha, how are you? Listen, I don't have a lot of time, but I wanted to reach out to you real quick. I recently started a new business project that I'm super excited about, and I'm making my list of people to invite to my private virtual business launch on such and such a day. I'm only inviting a few of my close family and friends that can benefit from the information being shared. And I thought of you because you're working 2 jobs, and 2 jobs are for 2 people. So this might be something that you're interested in so that you don't have to work that second job. Can I count on you to be there? Or should I cross you off the list? So that could be the role play that you do with them, Shamika.
I was going to say, I don't know. I ain't had a lot of great feedback with the crossing off the list. Mm-hmm. A lot of people were, oh, she crossed me out. Well, yeah, go ahead and cross me off the list then. So but I guess it's different strokes for different folks, right? That's why I love it, because we have different tools that we could pull out the toolbox, and if it don't work, you just put another one out there.
Listen, you gotta tweak it and personalize it. It is a script. You better not tell your mama you're gonna cross her off the list. That ain't gonna go over too well. It's just not. But tweak it. It's just giving people, you can say it the way you want, but again, the whole point of the script is so they have an idea of what how the conversation should go, so that they don't overtalk. That's the thing. Michelle?
Okay, having a hard time coming off of mute. Okay, because typically I try to do it with one person launching at a time, but it comes in fast and furious. So we try to stick to no more than 2 at a time. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's
trying to keep it very
necessary. Personal. Yeah, it's very necessary. I was just messaging one of my directors this morning, and she's just a phenom with recruiting, not just recruiting. She's a phenom with attracting people. So she's like going bronze every week. And so, and she works full time. She's a mom, and she's big on booking and traveling. And so she's struggling with, getting these people onboarded and launched and stuff. So I was helping, but it's like, I can't onboard and launch all your people because I'm still building my business. I still have to, right? And so we had a conversation this morning, and I was saying, you're going to have to create systems in place that are going to work for you. And here's something too that some of you may hear. First of all, having someone who can recruit a lot of people at a time is rare. That's the exception, not the rule. But you will have some people that can just drop them in. A lot of people, very, very good at that. They just have a lot of influence. So they have a lot of people that can join them at one time. So then the challenge is, okay, how do I onboard all of these people? How do I launch all these people? And so what I had said was, you're going to need to scale back the recruiting. Because remember, you control your schedule. Michelle's eyes went, what? What are you talking about? This is that for the person or people that you come across who have a lot of influence, and they got 3, 4, 5 people who are saying, I want to join, I want to join, I want to join, especially as we go into momentum. Because you can't have all those people join, and then now you don't have the time to train them and recruit them, and you can't expect somebody else to do it. I mean, we as a directors, we're here to help you, but we can't onboard and train all your people and launch all your people. And what made it crazy, because I'm assistant, but at the core tour, I called the play for about 7 people. And I said, I want you to schedule 3 business broadcasts on my calendar over the next 3 to 6 weeks. And so when I looked at my calendar, there are some days where I'm doing a webinar at, 5 p.m. and then another one's at 7 p.m. and then another one's at 9 p.m. So I don't want to burn myself out, right? And now I call that play with 7 people. So I'm doing what I need to do to increase the activity in my organization. So what does that do? Now I'm not as available to help this other person, as I would like to be. So I'm like, okay, we got to figure this out. So I'm like, you're going to have to scale back, right? You're recruiting to what you can manage. If you can't manage onboarding 5 people a week, don't bring on 5 people a week. If you can't handle it, so now you're going to have to put some systems in place. So one of the things that I had suggested was definitely part 1 of the 15-day quick start should be with 1 person, because that's the game plan interview. That's not a group conversation. I'm having a conversation with Sandra. What's your why? Like, what's going on in your family? That should not be a group conversation. The IntelliTravel side, I could easily see a group of, 5 new business partners on a Zoom, and we going over parts 3 and 4. I can see that. Another level is, okay, record yourself doing parts 3 and 4. And now you have a video and you can pin it in your group, or, where your team can have access to it. And now you can have your new business partner watch that and say, okay, this is what you need to do for parts 3 and 4. So now you're personally only onboarding for part 1 and part 2. And you can, but what I suggested was, if you go that route with doing a video recording of you onboarding parts 3 and 4 and showing them where they need to go, make sure you're scheduling a follow-up Zoom meeting with that new business partner to see, do they have any questions with their onboarding? You should also be, having their next launch or whatever. But if someone's dropping them in like that, because you don't want to get burnt out. You don't want to get burnt out. And the other thing to keep in mind with your business is, how many of you want time freedom? Anybody? Or just me? I don't want to have that many people coming in where that's my life now. I'm just trying to keep up with, I don't want that, right? So for me, my thought process was, and I shared this with her, I said, directors who have large teams are probably only bringing in 1 to 3 people a month. We're not out prospecting as much because we have other responsibilities, and we'd never be able to keep up with everything. If I'm prospecting as much as some of you are to get to 1 star, when would I have time to onboard anybody, or to do a coaching, or to do the 3-way calls? When would there be time? If everybody is doing that and my calendar is being filled up with 3-way calls, where am I going to have time to onboard 5 and 10 people a month? I wouldn't. So there has to be a balance. And like I said, it's going to look different for everyone. What I just explained to you was a situation with someone who has a lot of influence and they don't even really need to prospect because people are just, I'm ready to get started. I'm ready to get started. I'm ready to get started. And they're doing like 2 onboardings a day because that's how many people are joining their organization on a weekly basis. They're literally like going bronze like every week. That is a lot. That is a lot. So it's like you have to create, remember, and you want to create a system that's duplicatable. And the key is leverage. Leverage the tools and resources that are already out there. You do not have to reinvent the wheel. So again, if you create a video of you doing parts 3 and 4 as an onboarding, now you could just leverage the video. You only got to record the video one time, right? That's why I don't have to explain a whole bunch of stuff because I got a video I can refer people to. Oh, you need help with social media? Here's a video for that. Oh, you need help with prospecting? There's a video for that. Oh, you need help how to work groups? I got a video for that too. You want to learn how to work LinkedIn? I got a video for that. So it's like I took the time so that because I kept having the same conversations over and over and over and over again, but with different people. That's not I don't want that to be my life. So create a system, or if the resource isn't already out there, create a resource for it, and then now leverage that. Does that make sense? Does that help anybody?
No, and it does, because that's the whole point. We started pretty much the same thing as duplicating. Everyone on the team is aware of a 15-day startup. I kind of put more parameters in place that I'll do the first 2 to 3 with you, because it's not about you joining with your new person and just sitting back and letting me do it. You should be learning this. You should already know it because you're part of the business.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Right.
just understanding how to now deliver it, because I know sometimes it is a little bit different when you're watching versus when you now have to deliver. It seems easy, but when you actually have to do it. So sometimes I'll do the first 2 to 3, and for it to now transition over to you, and I take the back seat so that now you can take it and run with it. I like the idea of recording. I agree. The first one, the game plan, should be that one-on-one with the sponsor, if that's what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there have been times that we have done, with a couple of the other segments, maybe several people who may have started at the same time, will do those together. And they seem to love it because now it's like, oh, it's other new people. So now they're building that bond because they started when I started.
Right.
So I like that type of flavor that's coming from it.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, the question was, why not launch 3 to 4 people at a time? That, for me, it feels like now you're taking it away from that personal touch.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, with all the activity that's happening, especially now we're talking about doing 4 after the person starts. But from my perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong, I just felt like more than 2 was now really taking it away from that personal tone.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't launch more than 2 people at a time, and I would definitely get permission from each of them. Are they okay with co-launching with another person, not a group of people? Because it does. Once you start adding 3 and 4 people, especially if they're really inviting, then people are like, well, who's that? Well, who's that? But 2 people, and the 2 people is great if it's the sponsor and their new person. Like if they joined around the same time, right? Like if I bring Sandra in and then she just brought somebody in, it's like, okay, I want to launch Sandra and her new person, as a joint launch, as opposed to someone she doesn't know or anything like that. And I agree with you, Michelle. If they're going through the 15-day quick start, then they're able to do that with their new person. Most of it, like you said, parts 3 and 4. In this situation, though, it was the leader. So she don't have nobody else to do. It's her. These are her directs that are, so that's the downside with, like the video we saw, there's a positive and a negative to every side. It's great to go 20-20. It's great to go 40-40, 66. Oh, that's amazing. 80-80. Oh, wow. That's outstanding. 100. Oh my gosh, you're a rock star. But having all of those people and you are their first go-to, it sounds good. It's nice to have the pen and stuff, and it's amazing that you have that type of skill set and influence, but it's a lot of responsibility to be the first go-to for that many people. And so that is why we always talk to people about duplication, get duplication. You got to develop leaders. If you talk to Orlando Moore and Ann Shedrick White, millionaires in the company, and neither one of them are a part of the 40/40 club. Neither one of them. So what does that tell you? You don't have to be 40/40, 60/60, 80/80. But what they've mastered is developing leaders and getting the duplication so that they don't have to be the magic in their business. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like I said, not everybody can do what you do. So your team, they're not going to come in. You might be able to go 60/60, but your team, they're not going to be able to do that or even come close. And you don't want them to feel like they have to do that in order to be successful. So it's all about developing them so that they can master their skill set. And then it's all good from there. Any questions, comments, feedback? And Claudia, I need you to go on my calendar to schedule another new business partner orientation. Actually, where are we at? Lana. We'll talk offline because I forgot I'm recording this. Any questions, comments, feedback on what we discussed today? Was anybody get any value from today? They learn anything new that can help them? Valerie said, what time is the meeting tonight? The last Tuesday of the month? This is the team Zoom with Mr. Moore at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Team Zoom with Mr. Moore tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Lenise said, I see now why your calendar in the evening is booked. Yeah. Activity. But you know, it's good to have a calendar booked up like that because too, then it forces the person to say, oh, well, I guess I got to do it myself. And it pushes them out of their comfort zone. Like, well, I can't wait until March 20th for Tanisha. Let me make this happen. You know, so it does that. Anybody else? Any questions, feedback? Everybody got a good takeaway from today? Something that they can use?
The pre-launch script, you can feel free to text that to me. Is it in the group?
It's in the chat.
I put it right in the chat.
Okay, I'm sorry. Missed that. Hold on. Okay, awesome.
You see it?
Yep, hold on. Copying it.
And a nice little trick that Tanisha taught me is to put that pre-launch in my notes. And this way I could tweak it whatever way I want, various ways to send it to different people.
Right. Yep. Yeah, you definitely want to tweak it based on the person. Like I said, don't tell your mama you taking her off the list if she don't. Don't do that. But there are gonna be that somebody like who thinks there's gonna be somebody who you're gonna have to check them and be like, or I can take you off the list. Like I got that from Shedrick. But yeah, definitely tweak it for whoever you're speaking with. All right. So don't forget tonight at 7 p.m. on the Planet Marketing Facebook page, there is a business presentation. So you can start inviting people to the Planet Marketing Facebook page so they can see that live business presentation. It's 30 minutes. And then tonight at 10 p.m. is the team Zoom with Mr. Moore. So you want to make sure you and your team are on. And because it's the last day of the month, get your prospects on as well, because not only will they have a business overview, but now they also will have, they get to see the culture, right? And hear the testimonies of the people who hit promotions, because they will be interviewing the new directors. All right. So everyone have a great day and love y'all. Bye.
Love y'all. Peace.
Thank you.
You're welcome.